let me just ask you, as somebody in a leadership position who's been a leader their entire life, who leads 900 plus men and women who have a very important job for our country, what are you telling people? What are your kind of thoughts? What are your beliefs about how we get through this very, very difficult time in our country with the pandemic? And there's been a lot of issues with race relations and things like that. And then, of course, the politics is very, very difficult right now. So what are you telling your folks, your family, and the people that you work with about how we get through this?
So, Brian, I'm glad you asked. I think this is a good way to kind of conclude. And I've got several things to talk about, so feel free to stop me and I'll expand, or I'll just keep going. But, for me, one of the funniest memes I've seen thus far is that 2020 is what Y2K was supposed to be. I don't think there's any way that you could probably put it any more succinct. But,
Yeah.
The first thing that I like to tell folks, Brian, is, test yourself, right? Whether physically, mentally, spiritually, you have to constantly test yourself, because I truly believe that makes you a better person. Whether that be working out. I guess you just started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
I did. I started in January, and it's totally addictive, but man, it's not easy. It wasn't easy walking in there as a 47-year-old man
Yeah.
myself.
Dude, so I've been on the mats for about 11 years now.
Have you really? Awesome.
Yeah, I love
awesome.
it, man. I love it.
So cool, isn't it? I love it. Yeah.
Or if it's CrossFit, it's competitions, it's testing yourself. When we were younger, I was more into like testing myself against somebody else. But now I just want to see where I'm at mentally. What is my mental state? And I truly believe that builds a stronger person. Testing yourself, meaningful dialogue, kind of like we're doing, or debating somebody on a topic. I think that's something that's kind of gone by the wayside. Is, man, it is okay to have differing opinions. Come in and debate and talk about it, and maybe, be open to listening. And who knows, man, you maybe learn something.
Love that. Love that.
I also believe that forcing yourself to do something that you don't like to do is healthy, man. Experience discomfort, whether that's like jumping into a cold swimming pool, or doing,
Did you jump in my brain a couple of weeks ago and steal all my thoughts? I mean, I love all this stuff.
Oh, man, I tell you, or being a 47-year-old man and walking into a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym and getting beat up, that is experiencing discomfort. But
I got my butt so badly whipped the first time by a guy that I outweighed by I'm 200, roughly 205. He probably weighed 150, and he was 50 years old, and I just stood no chance.
It is the most humbling experience that you can.
So humbling. Yeah, so humbling.
You think, dude, I really got this licked, and then you get smoked. And you're like, wow, I don't know what just happened, but it didn't work out well for me. So that's kind of the first thing. I also think, Brian, what I've really started to talk to folks about, especially that work for me and some of my commanders, is strategic patience, man. I mean, we as a society, I think, have become impatient. And I really think that to make substantive change, it takes time. I mean, look back when our country was founded, dude. July 4th of 1776, we declared independence. It was not until January of 1791 before we actually ratified the entire Constitution.
Wow.
So that's
I'm a lawyer. Time. I did not know that. I did not know that, and I'm a lawyer. I should know better. But that's a really interesting story. Really,
14 and a half years. And we were in a provisional government. We had the Articles of the Confederation, then we had the government of the Confederation, and it took a long time before we got to this thing that we call the Constitution, which is now, really, it's the oldest surviving written charter of government that we know. Yep. Since kind of recorded history. And it survived a civil war, economic depressions, assassinations by presidents, terrorist attacks.
Yep.
But it's that we the people, those first three words, man, they're powerful. Yep. And if you've had the opportunity to set foot in some of the places that I've been, and I know that you've experienced these same things, you look at like Yemen, in Syria and Iraq and Afghanistan and Djibouti. And I've had the opportunity to visit all these places on the ground and get to know the culture. And I've lived in South Korea and I've lived in Germany. And I'll tell you, there is no other country like ours on the planet, period.
Yeah.
And dude, I mean, I got it. We are not without our problems. We are not without our flaws. But I really believe that, if you believe in the Constitution and allow it to do what it does, to be a guide and a protector, then I think, man, we are in a good spot. We are in a good spot. So that's kind of my strategic patient speech. When it goes to leadership, right, we lost Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who I truly believe was an amazing American hero and a champion of rights for all. And one thing that she said was,
not to interrupt you, Colonel Gallemore, but one thing I just want to interject, because I totally agree with you, but a lot of people don't know that her and Antonin Scalia, who were on completely different sides of the political spectrum, were great friends, friends. They were fast friends. And I've been wondering, like, when did it become the rule in the country that if I disagree with you on something politically, all of a sudden you become my enemy? I mean, that's crazy talk, right?
No, 100%. And that kind of goes back to that meaningful dialogue and debate. And it's okay to have differing opinions. It's healthy.
Absolutely.
Dude, we're a bunch of robots, man. It's
you know what? One of my favorite things in the world is to find out I was wrong about something, because I feel like if I find out I was thinking wrongly about something and I change my mind, then I can maybe get a little closer to being better about the way I think. I like being told, hey, you're wrong about this. And then going, you know what? You're right. I am wrong about this.
That's right. Yeah. Test my hypothesis, please.
Yeah.
Challenge my assumptions. Yeah. Hands down, man. What Ruth Bader Ginsburg said was, fight for things that you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. And I think that goes, and I had a chance to talk with Justice Scalia when I was going through the Marine Corps Command and Staff College. What a fascinating individual. Fascinating guy. And he talked about his relationship with RBG, the notorious. And it was just, what's that?
I'll tell you a funny story about Antonin Scalia. So I got a chance to meet him a couple times too. But anyways, a friend of mine was telling me a story. He was very, very famous in legal circles, and he was sitting around with like 9 law students one time, and he smoked cigarettes. And so my friend said he pulled out a cigarette, and immediately all 9 people pulled out a lighter to try to light a cigarette first. Yeah, he was such an icon, and probably none of those people smoked. They just brought a cigarette lighter just specifically for him, but a true titan.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's it, man. And I really think if you look at Justice Scalia and you look at Justice Ginsburg, I mean, that they were willing to challenge assumptions, but they also had strategic patience, and they championed causes in a way that made people want to join that cause with them, whatever it is. And I think that's the key. And so as opposed to ostracizing and alienating people, they really championed causes in a way where they fomented this support. And it was, I don't know, man, it special people, both of them, very special.
Agree 100%.
The other piece of that puzzle, Brian, is the power of positive thinking. I can't say it enough. Now, be realistic, but be positive. There is enough negativity floating around in this society that that's the last thing we need. I think surround yourself with people who are, willing to challenge your assumptions, test your hypothesis. They make you grow as a person, right? And just like you alluded to a minute ago, being able to say that, wow, I just learned something. That's key, man. That, and it kind of goes back to the very first thing that we were talking about, developing relationships and then communicating effectively, right? I mean, no better way than to just realize that, wow, man, I was proven wrong. And,
one of my favorite sayings about that, Colonel, is I like to tell people I have strong opinions loosely held.
Yes. No, it's true. Absolutely right. Please. I love it when people prove me wrong. Yeah. And then I go back and look and go, man, what made me believe that my incorrect opinion before? How did I get to that assumption? Right.
Yeah. You're talking about being positive. I wrote an article a number of years ago about having a positive mindset versus having maybe a negative mindset. And, I've always tried to have a real positive mindset about things. And kind of the point of the article was, hey, man, why would you you want to go have a negative, mindset about things? That doesn't seem like a very fun way to live your life. Like, at the very least, if you have a positive but realistic, like not Pollyannish or something like that, but positive, realistic, it's just a much more pleasant way to go about life, right? So if you can choose to have a positive or negative mindset, I don't see why anybody, any rational human being would ever choose anything but being positive about stuff.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Brian. And then the other thing that I really believe in this, and I've been lucky in my 20 plus years now in the Air Force, and the world is vast and it's full of really amazingly smart individuals who only want the best for themselves, their countries, and their families. I encourage everybody to live abroad if you can, at least once.
Yeah.
Study abroad. I want my daughters to study abroad. I think it's just being able to open the lens with which you view the world in a more broad manner only allows kind of true freedom of thought, and I believe more purposeful meaning in life.